issue I would like to touch upon is that climate change, which is going to cause much larger disaster. And then we are also going to talk about how should we be prepared and what are the preparedness exercise, mitigation exercise current work which is going on. And last but not the least, how to take care of your stress management because of working in this area. Now, as we have a look at this particular thing, there are four factors. There are rising temperatures and more extreme weather. And we also get into terms of rising sea levels, part of regions in Karnataka coastal region. Four of the villages will submerge in another 5 to 10 years. And then we also have the carbon dioxide, increasing carbon dioxide level. And what is it going to produce? These sort of climate changes, what we are talking about. It will bring in severe weather. It brings in air pollution. It becomes changes in vector ecology, increasing allergens, water quality impact, water food, as well as environmental degradation and extreme heat and all. Now, what are the health impact of it? In terms of extreme heat, you will have heat-related illness and death, cardiovascular failure, severe weather, there could be injuries, fatalities, mental health impact. And in terms of air pollution, people will get large amount of asthma, cardiovascular diseases, change in vector ecology. Now, all of you have been impacted by this subsequent to COVID-19. And there could be different types of vector ecology apart from malaria, dengue, encephalitis, and things like that. What you have heard about it, but hantavirus, Rift Valley fever, Lyme diseases, chikungunya, and West Nile viruses are all coming up now. Increasing allergens, you will have respiratory allergies and asthma. Water quality will impact in terms of cholera, cryptosporidiasis, and Campylobacter and leptospirosis, and harmful algal blooms. And water and food supply will bring in diarrheal diseases and other things. And environmental degradation, forced migration, civil conflict, and mental health impacts. So factors that can increase community susceptibility to psychological effects of climate change include large population of older adults, children and infants, disabled people, and recently arrived immigrants, migrants, or refugees will be coming in. Outdated physical infrastructure which cannot handle the type of a health disaster which is going to come. There could be high levels of poverty and high levels of social inequality, high number of residents lacking access to healthcare, low education levels, low level of social cohesion and connectedness, low level of trust. And in terms of very specific health-related, heat-related morbidity and mortality, vector-borne diseases, morbidity and mortality due to extreme weather events going to increase along with respiratory. Mental health, most of the time, it is not like the physical health, it is unseen. You will have large amount of a post-traumatic stress disorder, major depressive disorder, anxiety, depression, complicated grief, vicarious trauma, recovery fatigue, substance abuse, suicide ideation, and exacerbation of pre-existing mental health conditions. Other social issues, finance and relationship stress, increased risk of violence and aggression, displacement of entire community, socio-economic, demographic inequality, social injustices, strain of community resources and all. Now, these climate impacts based on the five, what we have seen, would be affecting a large number of the individuals, families, elderly, as well as persons on with disabilities and all. In terms of their medical and physical health, in terms of their mental health, as well as a larger community health, in terms of increased interpersonal aggression, increased violence and crime, increased social instability, decreased community cohesion. You may ask a question, is it there? Yes, definitely. We are seeing a large amount of issues increasing in terms of violence and crimes, interpersonal aggression, and all. And key challenges are attributed to climate change is that we start pathologizing common transitory distress response to abnormal events, underdiagnosing mental health effects. Wide variety of potential climate change and mental health outcomes related to changing climate. Timing of climate change effects on mental health, attribution to related to climate change and mental health is not well understood even as on today. A large number of work is going on, but we don't have much specific sort of issues on hand. So the way forward is more to have empirical research to be conducted. If in case you have a research programs or your students do have, just look into this particular issue so that you can do small little research and publish. That would be of a greater help. And bring in intersectoral coordination to address, out of which we have to. The next, we'll go on to disaster preparedness. This is sort of a disaster preparedness sort of a issue which has been done in most of the coastal areas of Orissa. What is this? This is a sort of a place where when a bell rings, all the persons have to vacate their village and go to this particular tower which is built, and in the ground floor they would be having they would be able to take the cattle and other things which they don't want to, and in the next floor they would be able to go over to for the women and the children as well as the men and others. They have this particular portion to go. And a mock drill will be done in terms of how to go about it and other thing, so that if there is a cyclone or a severe rain and other thing, if their houses and other things are going to be washed away, they can go to this particular disaster center, prevention center, where their life will be much better. Now, to do that sort of a thing, apart from that, in terms of disaster management, psychosocial management, the Government of India, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, has given us a particular major project in the covering the entire country, based on which we first trained master trainers from Western Zone, North Zone, South Zone, East Zone, and all. And we have 97 persons trained on this masters. Following that, in the phase 2, now what we are doing is that every state we conduct 4 programs wherein all the districts are covered to have minimally 4 trained persons by the master trainer and our handholding. And we are equipping them to provide psychosocial care skills work with disaster survivors and integrating psychosocial care in disaster preparedness, risk reduction, resilience building, and response programs which are there in the thing in each of the state and union territories. I'm happy to inform you that we have now covered more than 25. I'm sorry, the list is only first one, the second one I've removed. We have covered all the states. Now, if you are coming from any one of these states, the covered states, and by March, all the states will be completed. You don't even need to look at to do some program back in your college or back in your university or your community, because the number of trained person in your district is that. And all these are available to you. And if you need any help, you can always ask them to come and do the program. They will do a good program for you for 5 days, 3 days, or 2 days, or 1 day also. And they will be psychiatrist or psychologist, social worker. What I am talking to you, they'll be doing it as an activity-based workshop for you. So you can think about doing it. And if you want to have a sensitization, that also they'll be able to. Apart from this, we have the preparedness and other thing, because this area I have not spoken to you. CBRN, Chemical, Biological, Radiological, and Nuclear Emergency Management will occur anytime. And the first sort of a place where they will attack will be a CBRN related place would be a nuclear power installation. You would have seen during the Sindoor operation, India had attacked one of the nuclear power installation back in Pakistan. Similarly, you would have heard about the Ukraine-Russia war. They had almost bombarded, the Israel and the other war, they have bombarded 3 of the nuclear power installation. The nuclear power installation, when it is attacked, the radiation from that could affect millions of people in and around to a larger square kilometer. And intrusion of the threat and other things coming in future, the wars are not going to be based on artillery force or air force or the other one. It is predominantly going to be in terms of most of these issues will be occurring through seaport emergency handlers and as well as the other one. So we have now trained all the persons in the airport who handle these sort of issues. We have covered all the seaports. We have covered all the nuclear power installations by providing how to do psychosocial first aid and carrying of the carers as intervention, not only for the individuals who are working there, but also for the community in and around. India is providing this 10 soft skills provision to 10 small islands internationally. We have already covered Fiji and Philippines, and they are following the Indian model. We have to still cover another 8 more islands. And rather than we going and carrying out a rapid need assessment or a detailed need assessment and hazard, risk, and vulnerability analysis on psychosocial support and mental health services, the persons whom we have trained in these islands, they themselves will be doing and carry out the services subsequently. And for your information, now we have a standardized material for all types of disasters and other things, area-wise, event-wise, with the HRV analysis, which could be used in terms of the psychosocial first aid for millions of people. And you have the psychosocial support and the psychosocial care and rehabilitation module, which can reach out to persons like you, the teachers and others who carry out this sort of a program. And then for the state disaster management authority, we have the psychosocial mapping and other things have to be done. Last but not the least, national level, reaching out to the hundreds and thousands of people, we have the thing for NDMA and other factors. So we have covered a gamut of psychosocial care in natural disasters, human-made disasters, and complex disasters, like what I told about these sort of areas and all, and the materials whatever. While working in this area, there is a stress which is going to occur rather than the normal sort of a stress which occurs in every person's life. There could be 42 events which will occur, and every year there could be minimally 2 stressful events which could occur. The stressful event could be giving delivery to a child. A baby birth will also be a stress. Once when the child comes out, it will be a happy event. There could be a death in a family of an elderly person. That is also an event. A person can manage 1 or 2 such sort of a life events, but if there are multiple events, they cannot do it. And it also depends upon the life stage where they are, whether they are adolescent or adults or married, or in terms of aged and other things and all. So stress is inseparable in our existence. It affects the rich and the poor, educated and the illiterate, both men and women equally, young and the old alike, across both developed and developing country. The stress response, whenever there is a sort of a stress which comes into us, for example, the students, there is an exam and they have to prepare nth minute and other thing. There is always a stress, which is done by a particular chemical component called adrenaline, which is released into bloodstream. That adrenaline affects the heart system in terms of increased heart or blood pressure increases, and breathing is shallow and accelerated in your lung region because of adrenaline, and muscles become very tense and for activity, particularly the neck region and other thing. and stiff shoulders, backaches and all. Blood flow is very low to the stomach, and that causes stomach ulcers, cold feet and other things and all. And you'll also have blood pressure and other issues coming up because of your heart variability and all. The symptoms of stress, you can see it covers from the head to that of the toe. Like once when you will have trouble concentration, headache, anxiety, anger, stomach problems, fatigue in terms of your muscles and all, decreased sex drive, skin irritation, muscle tension, teeth grinding, apathy and all. So what is stress management? It is a health promotion strategy. It involves commitment and motivation to remain healthy despite our adversities around us, even at normal time or after a disaster. Learning practical tips to manage excess stress is possible, and potential benefits can impact every aspect of life and make your professional careers of individuals meaningful and creative pursuits. Do you now need to know how we can do it? Otherwise, we can skip a batch of slides. Do you want to know how to reduce your stress?
I think it would be better, sir.
Thank you. Understanding the stress. Once when you're stressed, two issues are there. Yes, you take a bold decision that I can fight and I can come out of the stress. Oh, no, I can't. Let me run away from the stress. So either it is a fight response or a flight response. Based on the purpose of the stress, for example, you are pregnant. You can't immediately go for a thing saying that I don't want to have this pregnancy. I don't want to have this particular child. That is a flight. Let me go through the situation. Every trimester, I'm going to have some problem. And my gynae is guiding me how to prevent this sort of a thing. Because at the end of the issue, the purpose of the stress, when you're going to have the child on your arm, you feel much greater. And the status of you as a husband and wife changes as a family. Because when the child comes in only, there is somebody to call you father or mother. So the acronym for family is actually father and mother, I love you. Until that, you are just a male and a female, you're a husband and wife, or you are a co-partner, that's all. The word which comes in. So the purpose of stress of bearing a child. Today, there are persons who are talking, no kitchen, no kids. I'm seeing it in the social media coming up and all. There are persons who are saying, no children at all. If in case I do require, let me take a child on adoption purpose. Number two, what you have to do, either in your family or within your friends or with your others, whenever you're having some problem, your stress, your mind doesn't work that properly. It is most of the time something like a horse with the hoof, this one, eye blinder. So share and talk about your stress to people who can understand, who can empathize, and who can give some sort of I won't say advice, more of a certain tips for you to look at from different directions or broader directions and all. So sharing or catharsis or ventilation is one of a major problem to come out of a thing. Problem solving. How to sort out that problem? You have to have 5 steps. Identify the problem. List out what are the possible solutions. By sharing it to others, you have possible other solutions apart from what you have thought about. And find the pros and cons of each solution. Select and implement a best solution and evaluate the outcome so that next time you will not. For some of the men here, I'm just off the record, I'm saying, oh, I have a stress. Can I go and have a 60 ml or a 90 ml? Or can I have a 300 ml? It's not a right sort of a best solution to be taken, but some other way. And based on your problems, increase your support system. It could be different types of persons or professionals who can come in your way, or your own family elders have better sort of experiences who have crossed away in their family life cycle who can give you some tips. So increase your support system. Relaxation technique, whatever sort of a relaxation you feel to have. I've just shown, don't look at the diagram and say, so who would play the carom and other things and all now. There are different ways for you to do in terms of getting relaxed. So identify what is the best sort of a relaxation technique, what you have been involved in. It could be a meditation, or it could be going in terms of hearing to music, good music, or if you're having gardening and things like that, it would be a very soothing sort of a relaxation technique for you. Don't have a negative addiction of alcohol or smoking or the other sort of a issue. Make a positive addiction. Every day do at least 5 things which make you happy. Every day early morning when I get up, I look through my window to see which plant has given a flower. What is the color of the flower? And that makes me happy to look at and go about it. And by evening when I go to bed, I think about one activity which made me happy through the day. So like this, identify things, what will make you happy, and think at least 5 things which made you happy for that particular day. Now, as a disaster person, I'll be saying, go and work in disaster communities continuously for 1 week or 15 days until I send a person to you. Don't be passive just because I'm saying that you have to work. You can go and work if it is okay with you, your family, and other situations. And even if you work, have an assertiveness saying that I can work only for 8 hours. Rest of the 16 hours I need for some other thing. So whenever your boss or your other HOD or whomever is the person who wants you to do, be not aggressive what you want, be not passive that what others want you want to give, be assertive in what you can do and how much you can do. Assertiveness is one thing which will not bring in stress. After you have said once, people know that you're assertive on this area. Have healthy lifestyles, no smoking, no alcohol, and have a time management for everything, including your sleep for 6 hours minimally, and have certain social activities of having a good friend circle and being along with them. Healthy relationship, not only on your WhatsApp group or the Telegram or Instagram and things like that. And do minimal physical activities of 30 minutes to 1 hour per day, and healthy eating habits to go about it, and have certain positive addictions which makes a good sort of a thing, that I do visit the mandir during the bhajan time for 10-15 minutes. It gives me a large amount of a thing to go about it. Look at your body mass index in terms of the etiology of it, food, activity, environment, genetics, health condition, medication, stress, emotional factors, and poor sleep. We will look at how the sleep has to go about it. And the consequences of it is going to be hypertension in terms of high LDL and low HDL, type 2 diabetes, heart diseases, stroke, osteoarthritis, sleep apnea, breathing problem, low quality of life, and come over to management in terms of healthy behavior and habits, dietary management, medical management, and community environment. Sleep cycle, as I was saying, all of us do get into sleep in different stages. 4 stages are there. The NREM sleep, which occurs in the thing that is a pre-sleep, which is there within minutes or sometimes even within seconds, we will be able to go for that particular sleep the moment we lie down. Stage 2, fairly light, brain produces sudden increases in brainwave frequency known as sleep spindles, and brain functions comes down slow. Like when you are in a 5th gear in your car or 4th gear, 3rd gear, coming to neutral and having put your handbrake, the noise of the engine itself will change totally. And that is because of the activities of the gearbox and things like that. Similarly, there are spindles in your brain which increases in the brain wave frequency, and this will start making you to get into the brain function slow down. 3 and 4 are deep sleep. Only your heart and your lungs will be working most of the time. The rest of the body will be relaxing and going out to the thing. And in the rapid eye movement sleep, when you're sleeping, your eyes will be moving from one side to other, which you cannot see at all, but others can observe it. The brain will be active, but the muscles are much relaxed. And generally, it is recommended that you have REM sleep for about 90 minutes after falling asleep immediately. And if the REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, is increased, the amount of increase what you're having will reflect in your body having been relaxed and to take up the activity for the next stage. So how would I be able to do it? Establish a regular bedtime routine or maintain at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Go to sleep when you're tired. Limit daytime naps to maximum 30 minutes. And definitely when you're driving a car for a long distance, have a power nap after about 3 to 4 hours, minimally for 15 minutes. Whether you're sleeping or not, just get out of your car, relax for some time, come back, sit in your driving seat in a comfortable position, reclining, and then close your eyes for 15 minutes. Because you're driving for more than 4 hours without taking some sort of a rest, you will get into certain sort of a thing where your sensory systems will not be working properly. Exercise regularly, eat healthy foods, and don't eat too close to bedtime. At least have it 2 hours earlier to your bedtime. And avoid caffeine and nicotine close to bedtime. Alcohol use before bedtime, avoid. Practice relaxation techniques. When you're going to your bed, you can just do a sort of a muscle relaxation activity for your body by sleeping. Either start from your toe of tensing it and relaxing it and come up to your head. And when you have significant issue with your sleep, approach a healthcare professional. The other area where you have to have a control is in terms of anger management. What are the preparation? Understand your anger, identify the source of anger, think of the consequences, think of solutions. So for this, what are the actions which are required? Take a time out, think before you speak. Calmness will siphon your anger and talk about your anger to persons who are concerned about it. And in terms of behavioral strategy, do some physical activity, practice relaxation, drink a glass of water so that the hydrochloric acid in your stomach gets into diluted sort of a form, and move out of the situation if it is a much major problematic anger creating situation. And philosophical and spiritual strategies, what should be as your action? Seek help when you're out of option. Observe how others regulate anger. Always forgive, forget, and adapt. Use humor. That is a major solution for you. Techniques to counter chronic stress is always a relaxation response, a physical activity, and increasing your social support. Now, let us look at disaster management. What are the expected outcomes overall, having seen the past, present, and the future? And in terms of caring for the carer, we need to have a efficient disaster management even in your college. Immediately go back and think about what are the hazard, risk, and vulnerability. The vulnerability in terms of a college, let me give you an example, is the hostel. The vulnerability could be due to An electrical connection sending out a spark and creating a fire. Fire is also a disaster. The same thing, there could be a gas leak in your kitchen in the hostel, and that could cause some sort of a fire. There could be a group of students who might be enjoying a weekend by having alcohol and smoke and other thing. They might have, the bottle would have fallen on the bed, and somebody is lighting the smoke, might even cause a fire. So now you know fire vulnerability is an issue back in your place like hostel or canteen and things like that. Who are vulnerable? Probably the ones who are physically handicapped in your school, in your college. Sometimes it is the girls, and most of the time it is the entire student community. So what we need to do for that, having identified the hazard and the vulnerability, look at the risk population and identify and provide some sort of a way out in terms of getting prepared. So mainstream disaster risk reduction into various development policies and practices, not only at the governmental level, but even at your university level and your local community. And make disaster resilient communities that have increased coping capacities in relation to all hazards, and development of policies and programs that recognize all risks to the communities, and mitigating strategies that are based on a risk management assessment, which is nothing but a hazard, risk, and vulnerability identification, and have greater levels of coordination, cooperation at regional, national, regional, international level. And from your point of view, have it at your individual level, have it at your family level, have it at your community level, and the larger society in and around you. So enhanced information, warning and reporting systems at all levels would help us to a larger extent. So before coming to the end, let me bring in some meaning and joy to everyday life. There's a book called Ikigai, which you can look at online and look at it. And the moment you jump out of bed every morning, think what the world needs. Everyone has a mission. What you can be paid for, you have a vocation to carry on. What are you good at? Your own teaching profession. What you love, the passion is again your teaching, research, or other one. Uncover your personal ikigai, which has look at your own self and find joy to your everyday life. Leave the urgency behind. Find your purpose and nurture friendship, relationship. Throw yourself into your passion. What is your passion? Kindly keep proceeding with that. This is a book which gave me a large amount of understanding in terms of looking at my own self internally, not being carried away by the external evaluations. Thank you very much for this wonderful time. I leave the next few minutes for you to have any questions and answers. If not, you can always get back to me on the first slide. I had given you the phone number as well as the email ID. You can always have a chat with me. You can always have some discussions. You can always counter to whatever I spoke about it. And if there is something which hurt you, I'm sorry for the thing. Thank you, Nanjuta Swami, for the time. If there are any questions, if there are anything on your chat box, I've left the next few minutes free for you.